What a way to kick off the NFL season for the Kansas City Chiefs. I wouldn't want to have it any other way. Today, I will give you my initial reaction of the game and go through all the good and not so good. So with that, let's cut the chit chat and let's have some fun. Chiefs Kingdom, the three-peat quest has officially begun as we are officially 1-0 as the Kansas City Chiefs did defeat the Baltimore Ravens by a final score of 27-20. And before we get into all of the nonsense, all of the reactions, and all of my main takeaways, first and foremost, I do want to apologize for everyone who didn't catch my post. I did happen to be sick throughout the week last week, and that's why I couldn't live stream, and that's why you'll kind of hear it in my voice still. It was a struggle, but we're going to keep pushing forward, and I promise we're going to be healthy, and we're going to be better than ever, and of course, we're going to be covering our Kansas City Chiefs football. So let's get right into it. In dissecting week one, just in particular the Kansas City Chiefs, my main takeaway is it was Kansas City Chiefs football. There was literally nothing different than what I have grown to know and love that gives me to the highest of highs and to the lowest of lows. Literally, we had fashions to start the game where they looked magnificent. The offense was moving the ball. The defense, they started off slow, which we tend to see. Then they got things running. And then when we get to the second quarter, the Chiefs had the chance to blow the game open before halftime. And they didn't do it, which we have all come accustomed to very well with our Kansas City Chiefs. And then when you get into the second half of things, when it's fourth quarter football, that is nail-biting time, and it comes down to the final seconds, and that's what the Baltimore Ravens did to us. The game literally came to a toe. Actually, it was probably very less than that, and it was crazy. It was absurd, and at the end of the day, I'm glad to see us 1-0, but let's talk about some of the good things about this game. And you know we had to start this game off with the rookie, Mr. Worthy himself, and he is very worthy to play on the biggest NFL stage, as two of his touches both went for touchdowns, and he started it off with a nice end around reverse, and he highlighted his speed, which went for a little over 20 yards, maybe actually 30 yards. I can't remember off the top of my head. But man, when you saw him get that ball in the backfield, you're like, okay, this is your time, rookie. Let's see what you're all about. And he took off, and we're like, this is what we've been missing. This is literally what we've been hoping for. This is Tyreek Hill-esque, if not faster. And this is the other dimension this Kansas City Chiefs offense missed. And then you go later in the game, it was just a blown coverage, but you can't blow a coverage on a guy like him because he's going to be wide open, and Mahomes is not going to miss. And again, that's what happened. Another 30-plus yard touchdown. Mahomes was eyes lit up bright and was like, let's hit him. An easy catch, turn around, we going into the end zone. This is so promising. I knew Worthy was going to be a very, very good football player. I just didn't know how much we were going to see in week one because we know rookies tend to gradually come into Andy Reid's offense. And honestly, he was gradually put into the offense week one because we could have seen a lot more from him if it was any other team and they just throw their rookies out there. He literally wasn't out there all the time, but he made the most of his opportunities, which was huge. And I'm going to still highlight this wide receiving room because Worthy wasn't the best wide receiver on the field that night. But it was still a Kansas City Chief wide receiver. And when I say Rashee Rice is primed and ready to be a stud, elite receiver in this league, he proved it, as he had over 7 catches for over 100 yards, and he looked like himself, if not better. I think he is literally Patrick Mahomes' favorite target. You could take that as a hot take for what it's worth, but the Yak King had that on full display Thursday night. I believe with him and Worthy, it gives more options now for Travis Kelce in the future. Watch, week by week, teams are going to still zone in on Kelce. But they're not going to just keep letting Rashee Rice get 100 yards. They're not going to keep letting Worthy break the top off. When Hollywood Brown comes back, best believe he's going to be making his plays too. Defenses are going to have to start to adjust. And what does that mean? Travis Kelce is going to get his one-on-one coverages again, and defenses are going to be like, how do you stop this team? And that's going to be the million-dollar question moving forward is how do you stop this offense? Because don't listen to Isaiah Likely. That was not the best football team the Kansas City Chiefs put out on Thursday night. It's just going to get better. And they still showed the potential they had and still beat the best team last year in the regular season. Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens were flat and far the best team in the regular season, and Kansas City shut them up twice. That should put the league on notice, definitely when they didn't play their best game. I'm excited to see how this offense evolves because it wasn't all in sync. The running game wasn't in full effect, and give credit to where Baltimore Ravens defense is due because they did stop the run for the most part. But that's not going to happen week in and week out. And best believe, Isaiah Pacheco is going to get more involved. Isaiah Pacheco is going to break more runs. Even though Isaiah Pacheco had a touchdown, best believe, I look to see his workload increased and be a workout horse in this offense as well. And also, too, walking away from week one, just hold it with a little bit of awareness because it's week one. Overreactions are going to fly like crazy. You're going to see stat lines you don't like. You're going to see stat lines you do like, but doesn't mean the telltale of the whole season. So be aware of that, too. And also, when we zone in on the defense, there was a lot of inconsistencies throughout the night, but I think they did their thing for the most part. I think the passing game, they held it, mediocre-wise. Of course, you give and you get, and that's exactly what they did. My main concern was in the run game, but it was also more in the fact of stopping Lamar Jackson because they kind of zoned out Derrick Henry, or another team zoned out Derrick Henry for themselves where we didn't see Derrick Henry that much, but Lamar rushed for over 100 yards. And that's another give and take kind of scenario because you're not going to face a quarterback like Lamar Jackson week in and week out where they're just going to run for 10 plus carries and break those kind of yardage. So you live and you learn, and you hope next time you play this team, it doesn't happen again. But it's also a concern because we've seen the Kansas City Chiefs defense struggle in the run game. You just got to hope going into the next week, it is adjusted and it is improved. Let's also zone in on the offensive line a little bit because that's another thing where a lot of us had $1 million questions surrounding the new left tackle rookie in Kingsley, and then also how would Jawan Taylor look coming into this game. And I don't think we had a complete solidified answer on how it will look moving forward, but I do think it was promising as well. This was another bend but don't break type of thing. Kingsley did give up his first sack, but he didn't look terrible by any stretch of the means, which is positive. And the same with Jawan Taylor as well. He still gave up 2 penalties, but also he wasn't the highlight of the night. Unfortunately, on the Ravens side, they were the highlight of the night with their penalties, which thankfully, it wasn't on the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you go on social media, they think it was a one-sided call game with the refs because that's just how they feel when Kansas City plays games, that the refs are on their side. Actually watch the game and you'll see what happens, fans. But I think moving forward, the line looks promising, definitely for week one as well. Mahomes wasn't always scrambling for his life, always getting hit, and that's a good sign too. Week one is going to be your most rusty game moving forward, and the fact that you were able to beat someone you played in the AFC Championship game and play physical football is a good story to move on forward to. And then another area where Chief Kingdom had huge questions surrounding was the cornerback room, that now L'Jarius Sneed is the Tennessee Titan, and now you got Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson rotating, filling that cornerback 2 spot. How would that look? And again, this is another one where it was a bend but don't break, but I think both dudes played very, very solid. And if I'm going to compliment anyone very heavily, I think it's Jalen Watson. He made a couple amazing PBU plays to where it could have been deep, and I mean deep downfield threats to get Baltimore in a position to threaten the Kansas City Chiefs and tie the game up or get it very closer. And Jalen Watson was very critical in that situation. And there was even a play too where Chamari Connors almost had an interception as well. These young boys are putting it together. Again, it's going to sound repetitive. It's going to sound like a broken record. But week one, you're going to hear a lot of bend but don't break. You're going to see a lot of 50-50 chances. But it's always a good sign when there's good plays and you won a huge AFC matchup. And then Joshua Williams as well. I would grade him a little lower than Jalen Watson. That is just me, but I did think he played very well as two. If I had to round out my cornerback 2 role, I think Jalen Watson was far more impressive against the Ravens. And then, of course, Trent McDuffie did his thing. I don't even think Lamar Jackson wanted any issues with him. I think he only allowed 1 catch, and I think that was very smart on Lamar, and I think we're seeing Trent McDuffie come into his own as well. He was already an all-pro. He had a crucial 4th down stop, which was kind of surprising that they threw that call in his direction, but when you see the play break down, it was a very good play. Nelson Aguilar just really effed it up to leave McDuffie in his lane to blow uphill in the backfield. But as for that, I think it was a very well-rounded game. I'm happy that we're 1-0 because I couldn't say this last year after Banner Night. So so thankful for that. Now that we got to have the Cincinnati Bengals coming to town, we want to get these AFC matchups under our belt because that number 1 seed is going to be crucial. You already beat Baltimore. Go on, beat Cincinnati, and get a good early start to the season. Chiefs Kingdom, you let me know how you're feeling coming off of week 1. It was fun. It was Kansas City Chiefs football. You could not expect stress, right? Of course you could. It's Kansas City. With that, I'm going to cut this video off. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please hit that big thumbs up. I'm checking out. Y'all take care. Peace.